Hello and welcome back to the Weekly Canon. I'm your host Clayton, joined by my Uncle Mike, and it's a good one this week. We're through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, beat Leverkusen very convincingly, much nicer performance in my opinion, and Wembley awaits on Sunday. So, Uncle Mike, before we get into all of it, do you want to tell everyone what we were talking about before I clicked go live?
Well, let me just start off with Wembley,
Wembley.
We're the famous Arsenal. Yeah, mate. You can never. We'll get onto that, but I just want to. You can never not get excited about. I mean, I'm gutted I can't go, but for anyone that is going, that's going to be one hell of an afternoon. Whatever, it's going to be an occasion. I think we're going into that, and we'll get into it. But you're going into that in a totally different state as a football club the last time we did against Manchester City in the League Cup. But yeah, good week, good result, and we were just talking about when trophies were handed out. Is it last game of the season for the championship, for the champions? Is it the Burnley game? We're a couple of fucking idiots that are just getting ahead of ourselves.
Definitely not going to come back to bite us in any way.
No, so don't clip that up, any motherfucker. So yeah, it's been a good. It was a good. I thought it was a very thorough European performance.
I really enjoyed that.
If we're talking about that, so yeah,
was it Tuesday or Wednesday? It was Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it? It was comfortable.
Very, and could have scored more. Football was good. 2 banging goals. Yeah, it was everything you wanted from a European knockout game. I really enjoyed it. Eze's goal, flipping out, man. I am gonna say it. The 2 goals, him and Rice, I did have a feeling both of them were gonna go in as soon as it left the boot. Everyone always says shoot. I just had a feeling in those 2 moments, especially Eze. You just know that's what he's capable of. The way that he just walloped it, and it just absolutely ridiculous.
It's so we're seeing the player that I think we bought him for, which is what Arteta said, wasn't it? And I wanted to get onto this. I think you can almost wrap it with him and Gyökeres. For me, I just wanted to touch on those 2 because those 2 have been under a lot of scrutiny since the start for differing reasons. And let's be honest, we've sat here and we've all watched every single minute of every single game, and they have dropped stinkers. Fucking Dom, my mate, we call him cart horse Gyökeres. He's the cart horse. But you see it on Saturday, and then even more last night. What you're starting to see is I was thinking of it, and it's like at the start of the season, for different reasons, as I said, they've come in and they're almost wearing a weighted vest and those weighted ankle straps that you get if you go out into the gym and you're sort of in a personal trainer. And then week by week, you can kind of see that 1 kilo is being lifted off the vest, 1 kilo is being lifted off the legs. They're looking more springy. They're looking more pace. They're looking lighter. They're looking more comfortable in the team. And this vest is just sort of coming off, and this vest is coming off with fucking in the peak time now. This is what I don't give a fuck now. If you look back, they've dropped stinkers, man. Even a week ago, they dropped it in Leverkusen away.
Yeah,
but for the performance they both put in on Tuesday night, I thought they were both played to. They looked like they were building more connections. They looked like they were part of that team rather than passengers that were waiting for moments and that were sort of hiding. And it was just so great to see that how they're sort of finding themselves. And now, for Eze to be strutting around like the way he's doing and just doing his stuff, man, and that celebration is fucking cold.
I don't understand. It is cold. I don't understand how, as a human being, you score a goal like that and you're able to be that chill. Because mate, if I ever score a goal like that, oh my God, I'm letting the world know.
It was just like I think he didn't know what to do. I honestly don't think the first reaction was like, fuck, have I just scored that? And then he
Yeah.
was just like, right, do you know what? I'm going to style it out. I'm just gonna stroll off. Although
And
he needs to work on his positioning of the badge.
yeah.
And the other thing, you think about it, you know, let's get into it. You look at these two, and
Who,
they were
Eze and
both,
Gyökeres?
and they were both the talisman in their team, and but in their previous teams, and they were both previous teams were set up to showcase both of them in their particular strengths, and it hid their weaknesses. The managers would put in compensating. Like Ezra never had to do the defensive duties that he has to in this team. So obviously, it was always going to take time to get up to get the game, to get up to speed. But it's so lovely to see that they're flourishing just at the time that we need them. Like Gokaresh, 16 goals, man. And let's look at it. How many goals now, honestly, realistically, would you put? Still in the 4 competitions. How many would you put on Gokaresh? Would you expect him to score in the next? There's 16 games, potential games
Well,
left.
I
But
was
if
going to say, ignoring that, there's potentially 16 games. I would have said 20 goals first season,
yeah, but how many
probably.
in the next 5 or 10 games? I can see him scoring 5.
One in two, one
If
in three.
he scores 5 goals and Eze pitches in with 3 or 4, that's taken us to the promised land, man, or taken us
Yeah.
very near. And there's this the combinations, isn't there? There's the figure go around of like I think it's combined 52 goal and assist contributions from the 4 summer signings. So
Oh,
that's
really?
Ezo Gokaresh,
Supermandy.
Madueke, Zubimendi, and there's a couple from Hincapie. A goal and an assist. That's
Well, that's what
54.
everyone said, right? When we were looking at the summer window, everyone was talking about, especially like Eze, Gyökeres, and Madueke. I think everyone was talking about, okay, what are we trying to add there? It's clearly volume of shots, more directness. And I do think you're
More
starting to,
chaos.
yeah, and I do think, especially now in this running, you are starting to see that. Like, I agree. Like, while I'm a sucker for kind of analyzing patterns and stuff like that, I do think, especially on Gyökeres, like, I still have areas that I want to discuss about what is the net impact of his all-round game on the team and stuff. But like now doesn't feel like the time. Now's like what you said. How many goals can this guy contribute? Because for let's just say there are 16 games left. All you want are goals in those because that's what's going to win the games. I think in August, September, October, sure, you're looking at the importance of okay, you know what people say about Haaland, like he'll only get one touch in a game, it will be a goal, but what's the net impact on what it means for the rest of the team? With it's less than a third of the season left, right? With like with the finish line in sight, I almost think they're not the conversations we need to be having. It's just about play to these guys' strengths, try and minimize their weaknesses, and I think the strengths on those two guys are just getting close to goal. Like you see what Rice was saying about Eze after the game, right? Where he was just saying he's probably got the best shot from that area of the pitch, left foot, right foot, and it's all about just getting him in there consistently. And I think that's what we have to do. Like Gyökeres is so flawed in his all-round game, but I'm almost like I don't care now. We've got potentially 16 to go. Just play to his strengths, get him in the positions. Because like we know he can lever a ball, and like there was a shot he did in that game as well from just outside the box, and like keeper saved it. But like the venom on it, the power on it, and
That's
yeah,
what we
like
wanted to see, wasn't it? We wanted to see more shots. That's why going back to those particular players, that was the metrics that they were being promoted was shots, relentless running from Gokaresh. And I give that fair. You know, I know it's such a cliche about the hard work, but I think that wins you over. That wins over the play at the fans in the stadium, right? If they can, and that's where you start. If he can, and I think any fan that was in the stadium on Tuesday night can see what he provided for that team. He was relentless. He had those guys on toast. He wasn't particularly going down, not trying to get the foul. And we've seen that so many times where he almost wants the contact and he wants that. He's a very he wants that battle, but it was almost like too much, as though he's going for that. And we've seen so many games where he wasn't getting the foul, and I didn't see that on Tuesday night. So it's, if we're finding this form or this pattern and now, then it only bodes for good things. I totally agree with you. There's plenty of stuff that I think we're just going to have to live with, and we're just going to have to accept. And I'm cool with that. I said it. If this team takes us to where we think we can go, I don't care.
I think the big difference is in September, when you're looking at what are some of the areas for improvement, you're doing it against the lens of there's potentially 50, 60 games left, right? So when you're assessing that, it is like, okay, these things could potentially come back to bite us. But the evidence then stacks as you get into the 30th game, into the 40th game. And now, I don't know how many games we played this season, but again, just working on the thing of 16 to go, it's like the evidence we've seen is we've lost 3 games all season. Sure, there's things that can be improved in attack and stuff, but it's like there's enough evidence now to suggest that whatever the aesthetics are, whatever the aesthetics, it's effective. It's very effective. And I think that's where this kind of release from me is coming from, of like, I can stomach things because I've seen enough evidence to suggest over the season that it works. And there's more evidence coming in the last few weeks in particular where it's like, it's effective, just get over the line no matter what. And the magic moments thing, right? How many times have we had conversations over the last few years, and especially since you and I have just done this pod together, of like, we're so well structured, but it gets to that final third and we kind of lack that magic moment, the individual brilliance. I've said for years, I think that's what wins Champions Leagues. And that's why I never thought we'd really get over the line until we added it. And again, you're seeing it, right? Like, it was 2 moments for all of the good play and the chances we had. It was 2 moments of individual brilliance that won the game. The Real Madrid tie last year, as much as we did really well, it was a few moments of, well, the 2 free kicks in particular, individual moments of brilliance that kind of got us in the lead and kind of built that game state and stuff. And then Marino with a great finish, which you could also argue individual brilliance. But yeah, I think it's really, really encouraging signs. I'm a big believer in momentum in football. You look at Man City dropping points at West Ham on the weekend, going out embarrassingly against Real Madrid midweek. You look at us, the manner of the way we got the win against Everton, a convincing win midweek. I just really hope this sets up Sunday to be our day. And like, yeah, I don't know. I am a big believer in momentum, but I'm also a big believer that in a cup final, momentum goes out the window. So I'm a bit confused and conflicted there. Where's your head at on those kind of stories and narratives?
Yeah, I did see a tweet that it would be like said, if we win on Sunday, we are cringe for celebrating the League Cup.
And do you think that will be?
And if we lose, we're bottlers.
Do you? I slightly disagree. I don't think we will get the cringe if we celebrate this Sunday. Usually, I think.
No, I just think like rival fan bases, right? We'll be boiling their piss more and more every single week. It's now at ridiculous levels of what they're using to try and throw that last little bit of shit at us. So because they're squeezing out a sponge, and there's not much left in that banter sponge that they can throw at us. And once we've done this, right, we're looking at United with 15 years since they've won the league. 15 years since they've won the league. So none of this 22 years.
I know, there's not much in it, really, is there?
It's 15 years since those fuckers have won it. So let's start looking over, shining the spotlight on them, right? That is what they are fearing. So there's so much, you come off of it, and probably I should, but I see so much shit, right? And even like Liverpool fans discussing Galatasaray tactics and blaming it on Arsenal.
Oh, really? I didn't actually watch any of the games.
Oh, mate, because they were throwing themselves, they were continental teams alike, throwing themselves on the floor, and it's Arsenal's fault. So yeah, it's for this Sunday. That's what I was going to mention. The last time I was at a League Cup final was that, I think it was 2019, 18,
18,
17,
yeah.
18.
Was that the Mustafi,
Yeah,
the
man.
little push?
I left. Well, I think we left with
Oh,
20 minutes to go, 3-0 down. It was
yeah. I wasn't
absolute.
actually at that game. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
get
was
there. But
absolutely freezing, and we just fucked off, and we just thought, no, man. But that they were bad times. End of the, I think, end of the Wenger years. It was time to go. It
yeah.
was bad times as a
Was that
football.
his last season?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was, and I think it was a real bad time. So there, go look at the state of the club now, and I just wanted to say, mention that this is back on the back of the Leverkusen result. 3 years, we take it for granted. 3 years in a row, we've now got to the quarterfinals. Wenger never achieved that.
I know.
Never achieved that. So,
I think it's. I don't think I take it for granted, but like because I remember that. Like I remember we didn't used to do this, but I do think it has become a bit of an expectancy, which
yes,
like
which is
and
good. Which is
it
good. That's
it
where we
is
should
good,
be.
but I think this is where like I just value so much what Arteta's done. I want the world to fucking know it each year because like when I say expectancy, I mean from outside of Arsenal. I think the only people that are allowed to be expectant are Arsenal fans because like you're within your own opinion. It just boils my blood when it's people outside telling us how we should feel, what our expectations should be. But the thing for me was first year back in the competition, we got to the quarters. Fair enough. Went out to Bayern Munich, but the first time back in that
And that
competition,
and that derailed our league campaign because we had the Villa. The Villa game was the only game that we
we lost.
lost,
Yeah,
and that was in between those two games. And I think City had something like Bournemouth or whatever, and we lost that game. And that was when Smith Rowe came on and didn't track back. It was. And so
yeah,
I agree that was to get to the quarterfinals in that. That was a huge moment, wasn't it? Was it the Porto? Was the
Porto
penalty
was the
shootout?
round of 16.
And that was our first time that we'd gone for years where we got
Yeah,
through.
but then
And it
it
was
was more to illustrate, like, did that on his first year back in the competition. The year after, riddled by injuries, gets to the semi-finals. This year, it's like, okay, we're in the quarters, but like the general narrative, myself included, is like we should be getting to the semis and the final. And like again, it's just it in my opinion, that's testament to him on what he's built and what he's done. And where does expectation come from? It comes from what you believe is possible from what you've seen and stuff, right? It's like, yeah, I know the
I mean,
trophies.
fans will push back, and critics of Arteta will say, "Yeah, you should do. He spent 1 billion." We hear that all the time. That's the narrative, and that's the it's still. I mean, to still believe there is probably an Arteta out section of an Arsenal fan base. I just find. I mean, let's see what happens this season. But if he wins us the league, I've actually seen. I mean, is it just engagement? Is it just clickbait? But I even saw someone say, right, if Arteta wins the league, he should still go. And I'm like, fuck, what kind of planet are? That's why I think I need to come off social media because there's idiots like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
you're go on.
no, just like I re-downloaded it after Everton, deleted it again after that. Once I had my dopamine fix, re-downloaded it after Leverkusen, and again within like it was great on the night of the game. The day after, you start seeing the same crap and stuff. I was like, yeah, time to get off, time to go.
So it's going to be. I mean, do you think it's an advantage for City to be coming into this? Well, it's never an advantage to lose to be on the next streak like they are, but it's almost a perfect game for them to sort of go right. Let's get up for a cup final. How they we know that they at the business end of the season they just hoover up this type of trophy. Historically, I think the lineup and our our attitude to it is going to be important. Like if you go in lineups.
Well,
Kepa or
start
Raya?
with the keep. For me, it's a no-brainer.
Raya.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to go Kepa. I think Trafford's going to start. Donnarumma won't start. Trafford will start. Right, so Trafford will start.
You think so?
Yeah, Trafford will start.
Has he said that?
I think he's historically done that.
Right.
I mean, but you can never tell with Pep. But look at the. I think it's a bit.
Well, this is kind of what my mate Andrew says, right? Like on a different point.
Yeah.
You're saying we're also too used to the 23-24 perfect 11 campaign. Not all players are perfect 24/7, but it was more the point he says at the end. It's a squad game now, so like if it,
Yeah.
which it
I mean,
is,
I
and
remember.
is that why?
Chelsea. I remember Chelsea's League Cup final, and we played the kids, right?
When Walcott scored.
Remember? Yeah, remember that one? We played the kids all the way through.
2007, I think.
Yeah, and we got to the final, and it was against a very, very strong Chelsea side, and there was a massive brawl on the pitch. I think we had two players. We had a couple of players sent off. I think the RB smashed it into John Terry's jaw with his boot at one point, and we lost.
Kick racism out of football advert.
Yeah. And I think Drogba beasted us, but at the time it was, why aren't we playing our? I think there was a couple of years since there was a bit of a I think it was actually there was a bit of a barren spell, so it was almost like, right, we needed to keep that momentum of winning trophies. It's not just a game that you throw, and that's why it will be an interesting one. I do think the keeper is the only conundrum in that sense of, every other one you could argue tactically. There's depending on what game that you want to play, do you start with Havertz, you start with Gyökeres, you start with Trossard, Madueke, whatever. But for Kepa or Raya, I think that says a big thing on how Arteta manages that squad, because if you've told him that he's the cup keeper and you're playing him in the cup, and then you've got a quarter final coming up against Southampton, how are you then going to say, actually, mate? Or does he just got to understand? This guy also, on a side note, has history at Wembley.
Who, Kepa?
In the League Cup, 2 League Cup appearances with Chelsea. Remember the first one?
I don't know.
Penalties. He was getting subbed off, refused to go off.
Oh,
it was going to penalties, and he refused to go off. And then the last time we played City, it was a penalty shootout, and they kept him on. And he took the 20-second penalty and skied it.
Yeah, Raya, get your boots on, son.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is interesting though. Like I do. What am I trying to say here? We've had a cup team, right, where your likes of Lewis Skelly will play. You'll get some of the Halen boys, but it's almost like the outfield players, like you said, it's not really a discussion. We're going to go with our strongest and best suited for the game. So why should it be different for the goalkeeper? That's the thing I'm kind of struggling with in my head. And I'm kind of with Andrew on this. Like, Andrew is a big Raya fan, but
despite you being not, you want to sell him.
I'm not a fan. It's just, another day. I'm similar on this with, like, it's Kepa's handling that worries me too. Like, I just fundamentally think he's not that good a goalkeeper. I think he's fine for the kind of early stages.
Bournemouth away in the cup, or
Southampton.
But as in, if we play Port Vale or what he's done, he's managed to do a fairly good job. I don't think he's made a howler when he's called upon. He's not like other bums of keepers that we've had in as soon as you come on. I mean, who was it? What was it last year? It was Neto, wasn't it? And the first game he played against, he fucking bowled the ball out. And
I think this is the thing. While you say he hasn't had a stinker, I agree, but I think it's because the team he plays in by nature, he's not exposed to enough events to be able to drop a stinker. But there are things where, like what Andrew said, I'm sure Andrew's thinking of the same example, but like I can't remember what game it was. There was one where ball comes into him and he just fumbles it. And again, against different opposition and different
do that against Haaland, that's it.
Exactly. So if I'm being real, and like we've got someone else in the chat. How are you pronouncing that? Yeah. 316. Psychologically and trophy importance, this game is huge. Kepa needs to understand that Raya is the better keeper. Yeah,
He'll still get a medal. He'll get a medal, won't he? If we're on the verge. This is it. We're on the verge of doing something historic, right? Whatever happens, if it's just one trophy or two, it's historic because of the amount of time that we haven't been in this position. But people are still talking about this Q word, and
the quintuple.
If you're all in, I did see something though. If fuck me again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. If Eza wins, if we do, this. Yeah, it is. You know, if we do it, he's won the Community Shield. That counts as sort of toward if it's a major trophy.
Wins the World Cup.
Yeah, and I think Arteta has to make a decision. I think we've spoken about it. We're almost happy at a point now because you've got the options coming off the bench. It's not as though your starting 11 is going to be fixed and you're playing that for 90 minutes. And I also think I trust Arteta enough to identify if it isn't working. It all depends on whether they almost both seem to go a little bit weird when they play each other and they try and do weird.
Try one up each other. I'll never forget the Willian false 9-1.
Yeah, and Silva has played at left back, I remember we played at what was it, left back? Yeah, played at left back at Emirates, so they beat us 3-1 or something. I think it was 3-1, and so yeah, there's always they're going to try weird stuff, and it depends on whether we go out and play our strongest 11 with the bench options that come on and do some serious damage, or do we try and counter some of their strengths by, for example, Calafiori or Hincapié? And it's nice to have these dilemmas, but they both offer you completely different things in different parts of the game. Do you want an Hincapié to lock down that time? Don't give them the space that they may need to push up, whereas Calafiori is going to more likely to open them up, and because you know that you can get at them. The same if a Timber's fit. Do you want Timber against the Doku? Do you want White with the partnership with Saka? So many questions, and again, Havertz up top to control the ball. Trossard played really, really well the other night.
I've got a couple questions for you on the lineup, which I'll do in a sec. But yeah, for people in the chat, let us know what your lineup would be for Sunday. What you think the best team to play is against City. We've got Jaden in, who he's very. I assume it's he's very confident, saying we're going to mash up City. I bloody hope so. I really bloody hope so. But yeah, my question for you, and then we'll go into the 11s, like what you would do, what you think Arteta would do and stuff. But Bukayo Saka, I don't want to bring the mood down, but I don't think he's performed well the last few games. And even on Tuesday, I thought he was pretty poor, if I'm honest, with some of his decision making and stuff. But is he someone that you start and you don't even think twice about it, or do you go for a Madueke at Wembley?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Again, we know if it was probably Pep, he'd drop Saka.
Do you think?
Yeah, right. In this game, that's the sort of weird thing that he'd do. Like he'd just suddenly, it just bombs someone like Foden, doesn't he? And you don't see him for Foden can have 3 or 4 games, but I think that the messaging, Arteta is all about messaging, right? And if you suddenly, that's why I think he will start Kepa, right? I think he will start Kepa. And the messaging, Saka's our skipper at the moment.
Yeah, true.
Right. So you're not putting the skipper, our star boy that carried us for 4 years, the first cup final you get to, where he didn't really have feature in the last one. You're suddenly going to put him on the bench because he's had 2 poor games. Now, he hasn't just had 2 poor games. He's had two poor months, more likely. He hasn't been on, let's be honest, he hasn't been on it Saka levels all season. He's certainly got enough credit in the bank that we're riding with it. Is a cup final at Wembley the type of occasion that he might shine? There's no way Arteta will drop Saka. I think he'll start.
Yeah, me too. I think for all of the reasons you said, it's definitely something I've seen as a talking point. But he does need to bring it though, because the last couple of performances against Everton and Leverkusen in particular were not great. We've got one lineup in the chat. It's an interesting one. So we'll use
that this. Have we got Max Dowman's dad in the chat?
Maybe. So 316 says he would play Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly, Rice, Eze, Dauman, Zubimendi, Trossard, Gyökeres. So midfield thereof, I assume Rice, Zubimendi, Eze with Dauman and Trossard either side of Gyökeres. I will be astonished if Lewis Skelly starts on Sunday. I'm jumping a bit here, but I was hoping he would come on a bit earlier on Tuesday, considering the game was done, in my opinion. And
yeah. I mean,
because I don't know when else he's going to get minutes. Southampton, sure. It was a shame he missed out against Mansfield because he would have played that. But yeah, Southampton.
He's just had a couple of those two chances that he's had for games have just almost been the carpet's been pulled under him, hasn't it? Because he had the suspension, and then he had the injury from Calafiori, which meant that he didn't start. So there were minutes planned for him. I agree. He should have potentially had more minutes. Would he start against? I mean, Southampton wouldn't be a bad, because you've got, if I'm right, the Southampton game is the next game back after the international break. Is
Correct,
that right?
Yeah. It's Southampton, then Sporting, then Bournemouth at home in the league.
Hincapié is going to get minutes. Calafiori is going to in this international break. Calafiori is going to get minutes. So Miles Lewis-Skelly is not getting any minutes for England in this international.
No, true.
So there's your thing, Miles. You'll play the Southampton game, mate. That's your game, and then the others. Because look, Miles, he should be able to handle a Southampton team. Like, this guy was bossing half of Europe last year, and we were shitting ourselves if he wasn't in the starting lineup. So it's there. So I think he will get his minutes. If you want me to do a lineup,
yeah, go for it.
What I would want, I'd go Raya, Timber. I'd go our best: Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and I would go Hincapié. I want my four best defenders on the pitch and just solid, lock them down, because we don't want City going 1-0 up. If City go 1-0 up, it's a different game. Obviously, Rice is a Mendy. Then I'll go Eza, Trossard, Saka. I'd almost start the same four. I'd start the same. So my team would be the same. That was the same as the other night, apart from White.
Yeah, and I do think Timber will be okay, because when Arteta was asked, I think it was just on the back of a question about Odegaard, where he was saying, Odegaard might be involved in some capacity on Sunday. When he was asked about Timber, he did say days, so that makes me think maybe he will be okay. And then, obviously it is an international break. So, I do think we need Timber. I don't think White is cooked enough to be able to play against a Doku. I don't love Mosquera there. I think he's fine to see out a game from the right. I don't particularly want him to start there. So, I'm in agreement, to be honest. I think the only thing I wouldn't be opposed to is Martinelli starting this game. I do quite like his kind of energy that he brings against the Man City.
But then if you bring in
on-ball quality, that
I would then think about having Calafiori with, we talked about it's the combos, isn't it? I think you've got one outside, one inside, where if you've got Hincapié is more on the outside and Trossard's more coming inside. I think Trossard was so important in that rotation. that is a dilemma. It used to be, we'd look at the right hand side, and I think now it's like that because we're lucky that both of them are at peak level in Capia and Calafiori. Calafiori, it will be an indication to Arteta's mindset, because if we go Calafiori, it's more attacking and it's more brave, I believe, because you are thinking, all right, we're going to get at you. If you're going in Capia, it's a little bit more, okay, we're gonna do what we do. We're gonna suss you out in the first half. We're not going to give you a sniff in the first half. We'll stay solid. And I know we know it doesn't work like this, but I think there is facts and stats out there that says City are not a second half team this season. So they're very much poorer in the second half than they have been in the first half. So do you at the game against us, they got that goal, didn't they, in the first half, and then they just shut up shop.
Yeah.
Now whether they do that, that would be a massive statement from Pep to do that, considering the current anti-Arsenal, anti-football climate. That if he went 1-0 up at Wembley and then went 5-5-0, fuck me, that is a statement. So yeah, I think Calafiori is a more adventurous one, but are you leaving yourself Calafiori and Eze a little bit more, or do you just trust them and go, look, I trust Rice on the big open pitch of Wembley, and we got the two best centre halves in Europe.
I think you'll go
for
Hincapié. I think that's the one where, like, if you look at a sample of the last 6 to 10 games, I do think Hincapié's been the one that's kind of been in more rhythm. Calafiori's been coming back from an injury, went off against was it Mansfield? He was down and Like, I know he's come back and played since, but I just feel like Hincapié is the one that's been more stable over a prolonged period. So I think that will just edge him towards there. And it's a shame, like, no one's really been of that description off the left, which is why I do think it is a little bit up in the air. Is it going to be a Trossard? Is it going to be a Martinelli? He did try Madueke off the left, didn't he, against Everton, and that didn't really work out. So no. I do think it will be Trossard as well. I think it will be Trossard, Hincapié. And yeah, I do think the team almost picks itself, if I'm honest. I think that the biggest dilemma amongst the fans is Raya Kepa. I am with you. I do think Arteta's going to do Kepa. I think so as well.
There's a couple of. I think Downman, he may well come on and make a difference. There's that.
Can you imagine? Oh my
God! The script is just it's. I mean, if it happened, man, then there's someone writing a movie for us. This is a Hollywood script. If that boy does anything on Sunday, it could. But he's fearless. Why not? It's one of those. Depends on it'll be beautiful if he did. But you have the nice thing is, we've got players on the bench that are able to potentially make an impact. And there's and they go back to the stat. I think 21 times Arteta's made the substitutes have contributed, and City one substitution has made an impact for their team or scored, and that was Turkey on the first game of the season. So their subs don't come on and make assists or tend to change the game, whereas I believe our squad depth, bringing on a Havertz, or if Havertz did start, you're going for the security of the ball rather than the Gyökeres sprinting. I believe we've got enough quality to come off that bench that can really make a difference. So yes.
Speaking of the depth, though, I do think it is worth discussing theirs, because, like, as much as they have had flaws this season and been inconsistent, and what made me think of this actually was when you said about Foden, like, you just won't see him for a while. And it's funny how, like, no one really talks about that, but, like, mate, their depth is stacked as well. Like, they can kind of change their approach, whether they opt with a Reinders, but Bernardo,
Savinho,
Cherky, and even in defense they can mix it up. And, like, I'm forgetting about Semenyo, Marmouche. So I do think it's important to acknowledge that they have so many options and different styles that they can bring as well. So, like, I'm definitely not in the camp on like, I think we're going to smash them. I think this
No,
is going to be a lot closer than the average person thinks.
it depends. It's will it be a chess? It's going to be a chess match rather than a basketball match. It's
I
not
think
going to
so.
be.
It's going to
It's
be
not
an
going to.
uncomfortable watching periods.
Yeah, I think that, and we will have to accept that. But I think what we've earned over the last 3 seasons is we now feel we should be on that pitch with City, and we deserve to be on that pitch with City, and we are not imposter syndrome and the little upstarts that are coming up to play against these boys. You've got Declan Rice on that pitch in the form of his life, thinking, "Bring it on, come on! This is what I joined. This is what I joined Arsenal for. Is for these moments." And I trust the boys that we've looked at it all season, and they found a way to get it over the line. Now, half of me is almost thinking, let's boil the piss out of the whole of England and just get a 1-0 set
Set
piece
piece.
goal, set up shop, George Graham style. We'll chuck someone over our shoulder, someone's shoulder in the celebration, break their arm like Stephen Morrow. So yeah, it'll be a big, huge thing if we get it over the line, because I think that's the momentum. And I did see something else going around. It's like we've lost, as you said, we've lost 3 games all season, right? And you look at the context in those 3 games. There was a world-class free kick. There was a last minute. I don't think it was a deserved winner from Villa. It was an amazing defending that we blocked 4 times, and on the 5th one, they hit it in the last minute. And the 2 worldies against United in all of those competitions. And if people are expecting us to lose 3 games in the next 7 in the league, so that's what's keeping me excited about going forward. And I just want to keep this momentum, because that's a 2-week period. I don't want to be sitting there with the narratives about not winning the cup final on
Yeah.
but yeah.
Just on their team, like Andrew's already said it. Yeah, they don't have Mark Gay, so that's good. But like, I do hope that Kusanov plays, because I've seen a lot of people raving about him recently, and I'm not there with it, if I'm honest.
He's
I
got
think,
pace, but that's about it.
but I don't think he's got intelligence, and
No.
like he looks like he's got a glass chin, mate. If you land one punch on him, I think you can get in his head for the rest of the
But
game.
does that mean that you'd have a Martinelli running at him, or do you do a little bit more trickery with, I don't
With it,
know,
Trossard, yeah,
Trossards, and and you save your Martinelli for your, Martinelli is more of an impact, I think, coming on with half an hour at a big Wembley pitch against a quite tired, a City team that have just done extra time, 90 minutes with 80 minutes with 10 men, or 70 minutes with 10 men, the mental exhaustion of that. So do you keep your nonnies and your to have a go at your out at
I think
Norries
so.
or your O'Reillys? So yeah, I think that will play into it. But yeah, I think that you're right about that guy. I don't think he's.
The other thing I think Pep may do is the kind of going back to. I almost wonder if Kusanov will play at right back, and it will be Stones and Diaz at centre back and Ake at left back. I almost wonder if we'll go with that kind of 4 centre back approach again, and like moving Stones up, because Stones, I think he's such a great ball playing defender in my opinion, and then he'll always have Bernardo in there. He's the man. Rodri is Rodri. I wonder if he'll go with Reinders. I think he'll pick quite a pessimistic team and then kind of rely on soaking it, hitting us on the break with like a Doku, Haaland there. I don't know who, like Marmouche off the right or
Semenyo.
Semenyo. Yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised if he starts Semenyo up top, and do something absolutely crazy.
He's going to have something out
Haaland's not particularly fit, is he? He's missed a couple of games. I would not be surprised if Haaland didn't start on Sunday, and it's to part of the fitness side of it, and part of the something totally different, radical, and start at Semenyo, because there is a drop off of Haaland output since Semenyo's been in the team, and Semenyo's more of he's the final action guy, and I think they thought they were buying a Doku that was going to do the dribbling and do that, but he's so much more than that. So Semenyo is a threat for us. I just hope the Arsenal boy doesn't score in the cup final against his team. So that'll be gutting. But
yeah. All right, should we do it? Should we do score predictions? I feel like we've not done that in a long time.
Yeah, I was thinking that today actually. Do you know what? I'll go. Oh, I think it could go extra time. You know.
Me too.
I think it'll go extra time. I think it'll be 1-1 90 minutes, and there'll be a late. I have a goal.
Let's be honest. It's a cup final, right? Is any Arsenal fan actually going to predict us to not win?
No.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What percentage of you feels we may not win this trophy?
You've got to look. I mean, if you 50-50, yeah. It honestly, it is. It's a flip of a coin because I think the teams are. I can make an argument that I could see them winning.
Yeah.
You can't. You could look. It's City. You can never write off City. And Pep. You just can't at Wembley. But I can also see on a day. I don't think we're going to smash them 3-4-0. As much as I'd love that, we all want to. What is the weather forecast on Sunday? Nice sunny day in London. We want to.
I don't know actually.
Got to check that out, mate. You got to check out if Ezra's on.
Am I wearing shorts or jeans?
Shorts, or you know what I mean. So,
it looks like I'm wearing shorts.
Lovely. So it's going to be. Let's go 3-1 then. Because you're wearing shorts, I'll put an extra goal on. We're always good in the sunshine, Arsenal.
We are, and I think this is the thing. Is I am probably more not pessimistic, but like erring on the side of caution more than the average Arsenal fan for this Sunday because I think their depth in a one-off game is kind of dangerous, and with that manager as well, like over a league campaign, sure he's not done as well as he usually does this season. They're out of the Champions League, but it's a one-off game against, historically, in my opinion, the best manager in the world. Having said that, I think our manager will be perceived that way one day. And I think this is a chance for him to showcase himself. We've got a very good squad ourselves. We've got different options and different abilities that we can call upon. And I hope, at least, that as much as I would take the smash and grab a shithouse 1-0 set piece, I hope there are periods in this game where we completely outclass them because we are capable of doing that in periods, in my opinion. So I just want to showcase the best of us.
Yeah, you're right. It does. As much as I do that to just take the piss, it would be a perfect opportunity. And because I did see, we know the players are fully aware of the criticism of the standard that this anti-football and all of that. And we mentioned it at the weekend. That was a nice little release valve, that feel-good moment of all that happened with Max Dowman, and it almost like it had a reset on the fans and the stadium atmosphere. As Champions League was good, I believe, on Tuesday night. The fans were up for it, and Declan Rice meant he was on CBS after the game, and he said, you got Henri there, and he said, "Yeah, I saw you on. We're talking. I was watching you two last night on Monday Night Football. Did you see Monday Night Football? Did you see the analysis? So then there was analysis from Carragher sitting there, and he was shitting himself because he always does this when he's next to Henri. So it's a totally different analysis when he's sitting next to Henri than he is Gary Neville. So, and there was sort of he said, "Oh well, and Carragher's been slagging us off all season about how shit the football is and whatever." And Rice was. They all watch Monday Night Football. They watch this analysis. And I'm hoping that they're now getting to this point of saying, let's show you we can play football. Let's show that we can take that handbrake a little bit off. And this is the perfect opportunity. So, yes, you're right. In this game, I do want to be able to put some good football together and it not just be, as much as I'd love it in the old George Graham siege mentality, fuck everyone, it would also be nice to start. But I actually don't think we will change the narrative. I don't think we will change the perception, even if you did do that against City, because we've done that 5-1 last year. Did we
I
just
know.
score five corners against City at home last year? And we had an 18-year-old scoring worldies, and well, two of them scoring worldies. And look how well we done that, and it still didn't change anything about how we play football. So yes, you're right, but I don't think it will change people's minds, because the brain rot on social media is getting worse and worse
in
and worse.
society in general.
It's bad, man.
It's so bad.
It's
The
bad.
amount of people that just two things can't critically evaluate things and B can't think for themselves anymore is absolutely astonishing. Like it's so refreshing. It's sad that the world is heading this way, but it's so refreshing to me when I just have in real life human interaction and conversations with people, because it's just a reminder of like, man, what exists online is a whole different universe. Like that. General life advice: get off social media. Genuinely,
Apart from when you're retweeting this,
yeah. Exactly. And watching Dalman's goal against Everton.
Exactly. Use it for the good stuff. Use it
Yeah.
for the good. No, but what you really have to do is you have to find your bubble, don't you? You have to find your bubble, and you have to find your timeline and curate your timeline so that you are following good people. But the problem with the algorithms, shit will always seep through, and it's whether you choose to. I was a bit sensitive about it, and now I'm just like, I'm embracing it and just like.
Well, fingers crossed. We're embracing everything that's thrown.
We're embracing a trophy on Sunday night,
yeah,
mate.
Man. Fingers crossed. I've got my ticket. I'll be there. Very, very fortunate for that. Let's hope because we've been talking for a while about this season potentially being historic, right? Like it all starts with this on Sunday. Everything that's been building this season, it's towards. This is the first cup final. This is the first one that could be in the
bag. Make it happen, mate.
Yeah, so let's bring it home. Yeah. All right. We will see you on the other side.
Wembley.
We're the famous Arsenal, and we're going to Wembley. Come on, Arsenal. Up the fucking Arsenal. Come on.